Welcome to Cupid's Logic, where love meets predictive intelligence. We decode attraction, conflict, attachment, and compatibility, so you can know if it will last before you commit.
Welcome to Cupid's Logic. I'm your host, Craig Pruitt, and today we are diving into the boundary map, predicting staying power by how you set limits. Imagine this. You and someone you care about are always polite in public. You share laughs. And then, slowly, small annoyances calcify into a dull, constant resentment that neither of you can name. It shows up as sighs, quiet avoidance, and a sense that you're both doing more mental bookkeeping than enjoying the relationship. That is what mismatched boundaries look like when they hide under the surface.
This episode is short, practical, and designed to give you decision power in 10 minutes. By the end of our time together, you will know how to map 5 everyday boundary domains, identify 3 boundary styles, spot 5 signs of a boundary gap, and run a quick score that tells you whether a mismatch is fixable, risky, or likely a structural deal breaker. If you want to know whether a relationship will adapt or quietly erode, this is the single diagnostic you can start using today. Let's get serious for a moment.
First, what do I mean by boundaries? Think of them as the rules and limits we set around our time, emotional energy, money, privacy, and technology. Time boundaries answer, how much of my free time do I reserve for myself, friends, or shared plans? Emotional boundaries ask, who gets to weigh in when I'm upset, and how much emotional labor am I expected to provide? Financial boundaries are about spending, saving, and how joint decisions are made. Privacy covers personal space, diaries, or close friendships. Digital boundaries include passwords, social media habits, and expectations about responsiveness. When partners are clear and aligned on these domains, the relationship runs on a predictable architecture. When they're not, the small stuff becomes the largest source of grief.
Now, the boundary map simplifies how people tend to set limits into 3 styles. First, firm. People who prefer clear, consistent rules and feel safe when expectations are explicit. Example, we split bills 5 ways and we schedule date night twice a month. Second, flexible. Folks who want guidelines but adjust them with circumstances. They prioritize connection and renegotiate based on shifting needs. Example, if you have a late work week, we'll pause the usual schedule. Third, diffuse. People who are comfortable with porous limits, who view boundaries as personal preferences rather than rules. Example, we'll just figure it out as we go. None of these styles are moral labels. They're tendencies that interact with your temperament and history. Problems arise when styles are assumed rather than discussed. A firm partner hears a diffuse approach as unpredictability. A diffuse partner hears firmness as rigid control.
So, how do you spot a boundary gap in ordinary life? Here are 5 signs to listen for. 1. Invisible resentment. Repeated small disappointments that never get aired but feel cumulative. 2. Repeated compromises. One partner consistently yields and the other scarcely notices. 3. Defensive language. Conversations about limits turn into you always or you never. 4. Secret keeping or silent trade-offs. One partner manages logistics or money without full transparency. 5. Small fights escalate quickly over trivial topics because the real issue is unmet limits. If you notice 2 or more of these signs in the same domain, say time and emotional labor, that's a red flag. A single sign can be normal. Patterns are predictive.
Here's a single conversation that surfaces true boundary agreement. Imagine asking, how much alone time do you need during the week? A partner who answers clearly, I need 2 weeknights to myself, weekend mornings are ours, is communicating a firm preference. A flexible response sounds like, I like some downtime, but I can shift if you need me. A diffuse answer might be, I don't really think about it, we'll see. The key listening cue is predictability. Can you model the person's likely choices for a month? If not, you have a gap. That single question often reveals whether a boundary exists in lived reality or only in polite assumption.
Next, the rapid scoring method. We break the relationship into 5 domains: time, emotional labor, money, privacy, digital, and score each 0 to 10 for alignment after a short negotiation conversation.
0 means complete mismatch. 10 means clear mutual agreement with a plan. Add the 5 scores for a total out of 50. Scores 40 to 50 are green, aligned and adaptable. Scores 25 to 39 are yellow, risky but fixable with targeted negotiation and follow-through. Scores below 25 are red, structural mismatches that require either significant change or a clear acceptance of ongoing friction. Example, if time is 6, emotional labor 4, money 7, privacy 8, digital 5, total equals 30, a risky zone. That tells you where to focus repair and which gaps are likely to resurface if ignored.
Important safety notes. A boundary score is probabilistic, not a moral verdict. It's a signal, not the entire relationship report card. Also, healthy boundary enforcement is not controlling or abusive. If a boundary conversation triggers threats, coercion, or fear, that's a red flag for safety, and you should seek help from a professional or support resources. The boundary map is designed for honest, adult negotiation, not for managing abuse.
Now, let's talk mechanics. How do these boundary dynamics interact with attachment style and repair capacity? If one partner is anxiously attached, they may instinctively request more reassurance and push for immediate alignment. An avoidantly attached partner may perceive boundary negotiations as threats to independence and withdraw. Secure partners usually tolerate negotiation and repair. Repair capacity, the ability to apologize, adjust, and follow through, is the multiplier here. A couple with a mid-range boundary map score but high repair capacity can move into green zones over months. Conversely, low repair capacity turns small mismatches into chronic pattern problems. Emotional labor, who consistently soothes, plans, or administrates, also shifts the score. Unequal emotional labor reduces the practical alignment score and accelerates burnout.
Translate a boundary map total into a time-based forecast. Green, 40 to 50, low risk. Expect normal bumps but stable trajectory across 6, 12, and 36 months if both partners continue typical life changes. Yellow, 25 to 39, medium risk. Expect friction within 6 months if ignored. Meaningful improvement within 3 to 6 months with targeted negotiation and small tests of change. Red, 0 to 24, high structural risk. If the mismatch is in core domains, money, emotional labor, privacy, you're likely to see persistent tension within 6 months and escalating disengagement by 12 to 36 months unless one or both partners shift fundamental preferences. Decision thresholds, green, continue and monitor. Yellow, schedule a structured boundary conversation and a follow-up test. Red, consider whether long-term alignment is realistic and seek couple support if you want to attempt deep change.
Before we go, 3 sentences you can use to negotiate a limit today. 1. I want to be clear about what I need so I don't end up resentful. Can we agree on one rule for this? 2. If we try this for 4 weeks, can we check in and see if it's working for both of us? 3. If we can't agree, let's outline what each of us is willing to do and what would be a deal breaker. Those lines move a vague feeling into a concrete experiment. Are you ready for the truth?
Visit cupidslogic.com to download the Boundary Map worksheet and run a quick compatibility check with your partner or on your own. The worksheet gives you the 5-domain scorecard, example negotiation prompts, and a simple follow-up plan so you can move from guessing to evidence in 10 minutes. I would love to hear your thoughts after you try it. Share what you learned there and use the tool to test small changes.
Thanks for listening to Cupid's Logic. Remember, you're not bad at relationships. You've been flying blind. Take one boundary conversation this week, score the 5 domains, and come back with data. I can relate to how hard that first honest chat feels, but you deserve to know whether this person can meet your limits or whether the mismatch will quietly cost you years. Be honest with yourself and be kind in the process. Until next time.
This has been Cupid's Logic. Stop flying blind in love. Visit cupidslogic.com and let the Prism engine reveal what your relationship data already knows.